I don't mind saying it. Oklahoma's game against Alabama is its most important of the 2025 season, and it is not close. I'm going to tell you why. I'm also going to tell you that this Alabama team has shown it does not need to play its best football to beat the best competition in the sport. And so far, nobody in the SEC has been able to do what Oklahoma will attempt to do with a team that hasn't looked as good since beating Michigan, period. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think Oklahoma can pull off the upset against Alabama at Bryant-Denny on Saturday? Because this game feels like the most important that OU will play all year. A lot of this has to do with, yes, the loss that it sustained to Texas and the loss that it sustained to Ole Miss. But also because a loss to Alabama here means you're not playing in the college football playoff. You're not. There's nothing left on the back end of this. Given what we saw from Missouri against Texas A&M, they could be a top 25 team. I make them the number 25 team in my top 25. We'll see what the AP does, and we'll see what the College Football Playoff Selection Committee does. But after that, LSU will not be a top 25 team. So the schedule got a little bit weaker in large part because LSU got a lot weaker. Speaking of LSU, think of it this way. Alabama's offense averaged just 2.2 yards per rush against LSU's defense, which, by the way, played pretty damn well. And they still very much handled the Bayou Bengals. And it was with an outstanding defense of their own there, man. Yes, LSU's playing with an interim head coach. Yes, they're playing with a beat-up quarterback who got benched. And yes, they didn't seem to have a pulse on offense. But I'm not going to understate it. The Alabama offense, when it is going along, is balanced. And its passing attack is its most lethal part of the offense. Like when Jeremy Bernard is on it, when Ryan Williams is on it, when they've got dudes that they could put out in routes against linebackers that are playing tight end that move like wide receivers, they're going to be able to hit you with a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. And Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer have been very, very inventive in how they get their playmakers the ball. And Ty Simpson has been playing outstanding football. And they got the resume now to prove it. Like the Florida State loss is still there, but it doesn't mean as much as, I don't know, a win against number 5 Georgia on the road at Sanford 24-21. Some people still think, and with good reason, it's the best win in college football, having gone into Sanford, not just beaten a top 5 Georgia and been the only team to beat them, but to be the first team to do that since October 12, 2019, when Will Muschamp was head coach at South Carolina, and Georgia had to wait another 2 years before winning the national championship. Ty Simpson and them went down there on their first opportunity with Kalen DeBoer, and they got a W, okay? That is a team that's also 2-0 against Georgia and looks every bit like the challenge to A&M for the SEC championship. And then they get the win against number 16 Vanderbilt, which, by the way, only Texas has done in 2025. Vanderbilt, who played with fire against Auburn, came out okay. But Texas got a great win against Vanderbilt, got a great win against Oklahoma. Another reason why a win for Oklahoma gets you out of the college football playoff. Right now, Texas has a tiebreaker. Now, they still got to play A&M, like Oklahoma still got to play Bama, but you get my point there. And then take into account the Missouri win, which doesn't mean as much as it did because Missouri doesn't have a top 25 win that you really care about. They played Alabama closely. They played Vanderbilt closely. They did not play A&M closely. And, they're mid right alongside Oklahoma in an otherwise really good SEC where you got 6 to 8 teams that could make the college football playoff. And then number 25, Tennessee, who's idle this past weekend, but doesn't have a top 25 win. And remember what Alabama was able to do to that team. I still think that Oklahoma can beat this team, but it's not going to look anything like it did last year when you have a quarterback that's just not playing great football and Jalen Milroe putting the ball on the floor, giving it to the defense, and a quarterback at Oklahoma who couldn't throw the ball, but certainly could run it. Now, John Mateer has not looked like the passer that he was in non-conference in SEC play. It turned him into something like mortal, but the Oklahoma run game behind him has found new life. Torrey Blaylock for a couple of games here lately. It's been Xavier Robinson. I haven't seen much of Javonte Barnes, and certainly Jay Knott seems to be on a milk carton somewhere. No one, even with what he's getting paid. But you also got to take into account Keontez Lewis didn't play in the last game. If he's back, he's okay. That gives you another wideout to go to other than Deion Burks. Jared Canick's been really the most dependable set of hands that John Mateer has had. And if John Mateer does not throw an interception, plays mistake-free football, yeah, Oklahoma can go on the road and get a win against Bryant-Denny at Bryant-Denny because they've shown that they could do that against Tennessee, right? They went to Tennessee and they got a W. They did not cower in the face of otherwise explosive offense and devastating defense. They played straight up. I think Brent Venables is a strategic match to Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer. I think that and know that to be true. They'll cancel each other out. It's will Ty Simpson make more plays than John Mateer? Right now, it feels like Ty Simpson will make more plays than John Mateer. If for no other reason, he just ain't going to throw the ball to the other team. Like, he's been remarkably good at taking care of the rock this season, and he has developed into an outstanding leader for that team. I mean, there's lots of programs that lean on their quarterback. Every quarterback in college football has a C, right? I should say every starting quarterback in college football has a C. But when you have Ty Simpson at quarterback and what he was able to do against Georgia, they just believe in him in a way that you couldn't against with Jalen Milroe, that you couldn't with any other quarterback through that time. Like, it's been difficult to go to Stanford and get a win, and that he did that tells us everything we need to know. And then that 20-9 victory where they gutted it out against LSU when the offense wasn't playing well. But I'm still very much trying to figure out what to do with the Ryan Williams problem, which is he's wide receiver 2, but he's still the most talented wide receiver on that team, even as Jeremy Bernard has been playing out of his mind this year. He's been all over the map, man. He started Michigan State, he was at Washington, and now he's at Alabama with them. But I tend to see with him perhaps wide receiver 2 off the board behind Carnell Tate in 2026. What he showed, he had 3 catches, 79 yards. He had the kind of jet sweep for the 3-yard game. That was a big first down for them. Ryan Williams, they keep getting into the game. They keep getting him opportunities to make plays. But really, it's been about what Ty Simpson sees. And what he sees is a lot of Jeremy Bernard. So now we're going into, this has been his stat line, basically through the last 9 games, man. He's thrown for at least 226 yards in every single game they played. And that 226 was against ULM. Against LSU, he had 277. Against South Carolina, 253. 253 against Tennessee. 200 against Missouri. My fault. And then 340 against Vandy, and the 276 against Georgia, 382 against Wisconsin, who, by the way, got a top 25 victory against Washington today. So the strength of record for Alabama just went up another notch because Florida State had looked good. Their top 25 win was against Alabama. ULM is ULM. Wisconsin now has a top 25 win. Georgia's got a top 25 win. Vandy's got a top 25 win. So it's really Missouri, Tennessee, and I believe South Carolina that are lacking in that department. But Oklahoma's got one, so that'll help your strength of record tremendously as well. Still, when I look at Oklahoma, I see a team that needs to run the football and play defense and leave John Mateer to try to make some plays later. Ben Arbuckle on the play calling has been much more suited to being explosive and to try to get chunk plays. When they run their levels packages and they run their levels concepts, Mateer seems to be operating best. Drags, not slants, drags, digs, deep ends, those sorts of things. Deep outs sometimes make me squirrely with him, but he seems to like them. He loves to roll to one side or another and then try to pick out the guy that's going to window. I don't like playing that kind of backyard football. I like to play in a rhythm, and I also like to have a run game I can trust, but this offensive line has not been really that great. And if we're being honest about Oklahoma, it does not feel like the kind of team that can win a national championship, not as it's presently played. It feels like a really good football team. Like it can do what Oklahoma's done in the past, which is even make the college football playoff semifinal. But once they get there, are they going to have what it takes to beat up on A&M, to beat up on Indiana, to beat up on Ohio State? Well, this is the game to answer that question. Alabama right now is a top 4 team. Everybody agrees on that. Everybody agrees that the 4 teams at the top should be the 4 teams at the top. We'll argue about the order when it comes to A&M, Ohio State, and Indiana. But we know that Alabama is that cut above, and that separation line is Georgia. So if Oklahoma can get a W against this kind of football team on the road, like it did against Tennessee, then you're going to change the hearts and minds of those people in that select committee and, more importantly, the public. Can John Mateer be the guy that he showed himself to be against Michigan, against Auburn, and frankly, at times against Tennessee? Can Oklahoma show that it can run the ball like it did against Tennessee? Can it show that it's not the team that could not come up with the last gasp against Ole Miss, which is another team that's right there with Texas ready to pounce? You need to beat Alabama, and you need to beat them decisively. Otherwise, just another bowl game year.